Hey, this is Editing Weeb Mode here. I just finished the video and it's taken me so long to make this video. The script alone is over 4,600 words long, so yes, it is a very long video as you can already see, so please get comfortable, like the video because, it did take me a long time to make this. I'm just a one-man team, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Weeb Mode and I'll be your host to talk about Beastars Season 2. It aired its final episode today as of writing this script anyway, and now I can finally give you my review and thoughts of the brand new season. Now yes, there will be obviously spoilers for those who haven't read the manga, so please proceed with caution. But anyway, let's just get on with the video. The season begins with the boys from room 701 on the rooftop of Cheriton Academy. Things are getting philosophical as shit as Jack is saying that a new star is born just as a new person is born. He calls these stars guardian stars. He also adds that only that person can make their guardian star shine. It turns out the boys were on the roof that night to watch a meteor shower, but everyone is getting impatient as there is no shooting stars, so Jack runs off to get his telescope. We now see Jack running through the empty halls at night, returning to the room 701 boys. He hears a noise in the halls that stops him in his tracks. He so happens to be by Lecture Hall 2, the same place Tem the alpaca was killed and devoured last spring. Jack gingerly approaches the memorial site, alone in the dark. Suddenly, a dark purple eye pops into view between the crack of the doors, which then turns into 6 eyes, all swirling round each other like some kind of whirlpool. Jack, being scared for his life, drops his telescope and runs away, revealing a new mystery waiting to be solved. The following morning, Jack tells the other boys what he saw last night, and undoubtedly, nobody believes him. However, one student actually claims that he actually saw the ghost of Tem. We then see that Legacy and Harrow are still in touch with each other and meet up frequently to talk. However, they only meet each other during breaks on the staircase outside of the school. The reason they meet here is that if people were to find out that a wolf and a rabbit were going out, news would spread like wildfire. Speaking of going out, according to Harrow anyway, her relationship with Legacy is nothing more than just a friendship. This leaves Legacy confused and angry. Later on, we see Miguno and Durham wandering the halls in the dark, hoping to catch sight of Tem's ghost. As Miguno takes a picture, he is absolutely shocked to what he saw, claimed that there was something behind Durham. He didn't believe him until they both saw 6 eyes in the vent above them. They both run away in fear, Durham breaking his phone in the process. They run back to the 701 boys where they tell them what happened. The next morning they decide to go to the school newspaper to tell the editor-in-chief about it. However, he, like many others, are only interested in stories involving Louis, who has been missing since the end of Season 1. Oh, and speaking of Louis, oh look, there he is, you little rascal, get your ass back in class, bitch. Legacy bumps into him as Louis gives a very formal greeting.
Oh.
The reason he's here is to actually hand in his letter of resignation, leaving Cheriton along with the drama club, and Louis claims that he has found a different way to fight. We then get a very funny interaction between Legacy and Juno, who, as we know, is the world's biggest simp. She claims that she wants Legacy to dump her right there and then, so she can know that he isn't into her. However, Legacy decides to go down to the ecology room with her to bask in the moonlight. However, all the other wolves are congratulating Juno on her speech at the Meteorite Festival, saying that herbivores now look at them differently, they don't fear them anymore, even saying that Juno could become the next Beastar. The next morning, we discovered that the eyes in the vents were supposedly a first-year student playing a prank. Back in room 701, the boys were talking about the recent news while Legacy is being haunted by this rattling sound, which he has been hearing for the whole day. When trying to see if anyone in the room could hear it, he lashes out and punches the wall, leaving a huge hole in it. Legacy leaves to go get the laundry whilst also going to get some tools to fix the wall. The boys in 701 shit their pants. When Legacy is alone in the laundry room, he finally decides to try and confront the person who was making the rattling sound. The sound answers back. Suddenly, a large mass falls from the ceiling to confront Legacy, all alone in the room. End of episode. Wow, that's only episode 1, and the script is already almost 4 pages long. Well, shit. In the following episode, we were introduced to Hexeye. He's been tracking and following Legacy around ever since that incident with Bill in the Adler play back from Season 1. He was bewildered by the performance. To sum up the scene, because I can already see that I'm already 9 minutes into this recording, and I'm only on episode 2, so I'm gonna speed things up a little bit. Hexeye wants Legacy to try and find Tem's killer. While this is happening, the principal of Cheriton is in a Council of Living Beings meeting. This is a meeting between all of the other principals from all the other schools in the city that then discuss which student should become the next Beastar. It becomes a apparent that Cheriton Academy, the most elite of all the academies, hasn't produced a Beastar in 5 years. To make a long story short, they all agree that the student whoever finds the student that killed Tem will become the next Beastar. We then see Legacy trying to gather evidence towards Tem's killer. He first tries to talk to Tem's friend Carl. At first, it wasn't a success, but then it was a success. Legacy reads Tem's diary to try and gather evidence. He does however find out that he hung out with a carnivore a lot. We then see the Shishigumi gang negotiating a deal with a black market merchant, though he doesn't want to do business with the Shishigumi until he meets the new boss, Louis. Louis dropped out of school to join the Shishigumi. In the next episode, we see Legacy going all Sherlock Holmes into gathering evidence against the case of Tem's devouring. He interrogates the drama club members in the locker room. Things heat up between him and Bill. Before things get too violent, a new student walks in. Tall, slim, extravagant, loud herbivore by the name of Pina. In the next scene, we get to see what happened after Louis killed the last boss of the Shishigumi and how he became the new boss. The Shishigumi came to an agreement to not eat Louis and instead make him the new boss of the Shishigumi. They said it will change the way society views gangs like the Shishigumi and make their business seem less incriminating. And to prove himself as the new boss, Louis eats meat. He gobbles that bitch down faster than me eating a Papa John's barbecue meat feast extra large pizza. And the son of a bitch has the audacity to ask for more. We then see Legacy failing at talking to Hara like a normal person. Seriously, at this rate, Legacy will never have sex.
Rabbit.
In the next episode, Legacy is brutally attacked by an unknown assailant. To get some sort of scent from the attacker, Legacy decides to fucking French kiss the guy. Legacy then gets help from Jack, who starts crying like a little bitch. Then Legacy fucks off back to Goheen. He explains to Goheen that he needs to find out who the assailant is, and he also needs to train himself to get stronger to defeat him. We then get the infamous stripper scene. Now obviously I can't really show much at all, because if I did then I'm pretty sure I'd get fucking quickscoped by Susan Wojcicki herself. Before getting devoured by some horny ass guy, the Shishigumi came busting down the front door like the FBI did to me when they found out my search history. Louis then returns home to enjoy a delicious meal of meat. In the next episode, we see that Juno finds out what Louis has been up to these last few weeks, and she isn't impressed. After arguing with each other, Louis decides to help with Juno's dance choreography. They share a moment of genuine connection between each other before Juno decides to ruin the whole moment by bitching about Louis' life choices and running away. We return to the 701 boys when, out of the blue, Legacy returns home looking a little bit different. I mean, come on, he looks like a saggy scrotum. But hey, everyone seems to love the new shaven look. We then skip to Legacy training himself with Goheen. Previously in the episode, Legacy stated to Goheen that he wanted to train his body without the need to eat meat. He does so by tying up a lump of meat to the ceiling and training himself not to go feral and devour the meat. We then see Louis pull a gun on his own father because he's gangster and shit now. Turns out all he wants is to have his father sign his letter of resignation from Cheriton. However, we later find out that he signed it as just a temporary leave notice. In the next episode, we get another great interaction between the world's biggest simp and the world's most perverted wolf. Legacy asks to see the inside of Juno's mouth. He's doing this to determine the size and the gender of the murderer. She's so distraught that she now turns to day drinking. During his meat trading, Legacy decides that he wants to bury the slabs of meat he's been avoiding eating. It's his way of showing sentiment towards those herbivores that have died, whether of natural causes or not. He even goes through all the trouble of finding out the identities of the herbivores who passed away and even made them individual gravestones and buried them at the beach. With the stress of training with Goheen at night and going to school during the day, Legacy finds it hard to stay on top of his studies and falls behind. He's in the library with Harry when, whether or not he's thinking straight, he asks Harry to marry him. Yeah, I guess you could say it didn't go well. Back to the drama club. Bill decides to play a game of tug-of-war between the carnivores. Legacy takes the opportunity to play and win each round to determine who the killer is based on their jaw strength, but Legacy loses the very first round against Bill. Everyone is shocked. Legacy has lost all the power in his jaw. For God's sake, he can't even bite into an apple. Let me just take a twink of water because I'm getting very thirsty. Hang on a second. Ah, delicious. In episode 7, Legacy turns Sherlock Holmes again and does some more investigating in the locker room. He tries to determine the killer's identity purely by the saliva left on their water bottles. Yeah, remember when he French kissed that attacker guy? Well, it looks like it wasn't just an act of homosexuality. Anyway, things are pretty chill in the drama club, everyone's rehearsing, Legacy's getting insight from Dom about the lighting, and... What the fuck? So yeah, that happened. Legacy and a brown bear called Ritz takes Kibby to the nurse's office. We then get a scene with Legacy and Ritz all by themselves. Legacy says to Ritz that he knows that he's the killer. Ritz is the one who ate Tem. Let's just say that Ritz doesn't take kindly to people who know about his secrets. Oh, and yeah, of course, Peanut had to get involved too. He says he won't tell anyone, and he and Legacy leave Ritz to suffer in silence. The next day, all the students are informed about all the mixed clubs will be disbanded as of the following month. This leaves a sour taste in everyone's mouth. We then see more about Ritz. As he is a bear over 2 meters tall, it is permitted by law that all bears over 2 meters must be taking a strength reducing pill every day, as to stop anything bad happening, as their pure strength can be incredibly dangerous. However, the side effects of these pills are incredibly unbearable headaches. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. And the only way to soothe these headaches is to drink some honey, making everyone believe Ritz is just a cute, honey-loving bear.
They couldn't be further from the truth.
We then get a flashback of Ritz and Tem hanging out, you know, before he got fucking eaten. Ritz explains that he has to take these pills, which are making him miserable. After talking to Tem for a while, his consumption of honey decreases dramatically. However, this makes Ritz question whether or not he needs to swallow these pills anymore. And, well, he stops taking the pills. And late one night, while being with Tem, Ritz tells Tem that he hasn't been taking his pills anymore. This makes Tem terrified and starts to run for his life after Ritz mistakenly scratches Tem's arm. They run to lecture hall too. Ritz only wanted to show Tem the real him, but Tem embraces Ritz and tells him he'll accept every part of him, before Ritz slowly loses his senses and kills and devours Tem, with tears running down his face. He ate the only person who ever accepted him for who he really was. In episode 8, we see Sheila be in trouble by not being able to hang out with any of her Herbivore friends, and gets jealous whenever she isn't in a picture with her friends. Well, she invites her friend Peach to go out shopping with her. They both hit it off and become good friends, and Sheila finally gets to be in a picture with one of her Herbivore friends. Anyway, back to the main story. We see Legacy and Goheen on a mission to bring in a meat-addicted hyena. Goheen pushes Legacy off the balcony to see how well he'll be able to handle the situation by himself, and it went surprisingly well. He finds out that he can just use his fists in a fight instead of his fangs. Juna gets to play the lead in Adler the play. Yep, a female Adler. A woman has never played Adler, and hoping by doing this, the drama club will be able to stand out at the New Year's performance and hopefully stay open.
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust!
Juno finds Haru, you know, the girl that took Legacy away from her. She decides to follow her into the garden club. Juno saves Haru from a falling box that almost crushes her, but Haru's just happy that she has another girl to talk to. Juno shares that she knows where Louis is and that she should try and contact him. We finally get back to Louis, who has been visiting a potential new client to deal with. This is a medicinal shop run by some sort of small animal, maybe a hamster or something, I can't quite tell. The medicine comes from the unfortunate souls who come into the shop hoping to get paid for their services. The customer in the shop is very old and insists he wants to have one last promiscuous night with his wife. Ibuki shields Louis' eyes from the surgery, but he moves away to see what is happening. Later, when Louis and Ibuki are on a rooftop together, Haru tries to call him, but he just drops his phone from the balcony. He doesn't want his old life back anymore. In episode 9, we see Legacy and Goheen again on another mission. This time it's 2 targets. Yeah, Legacy ends the fight pretty quickly. Okay, I want to speed this video up a little bit because this script is already almost 3,000 words long and I still have 3 episodes left to talk about, so I'm going to speed things up a little bit. Tao visits Kibby in the hospital. Legacy is captured by the Shishigumi, where he meets Louis again. His tail starts wagging out of excitement. It's a kind of brutal but funny encounter. They take Legacy back to the Shishigumi headquarters when Legacy tells Louis about what is happening. He finds out who the killer is and also that Haru is also worried about him. Legacy tells Louis that he can just run away together before Legacy has about 10 guns pulled on him. He then takes Louis hostage before falling off the edge to escape. Later on, Legacy and Ritz have an argument as Legacy hates how Ritz is acting all innocent. Oh, I've got so much left. Oh my god. In episode 10, Ritz cooks some tomatoes for his roommates, while delightfully looking back on his precious memories with Tem.
Man, I'm dead.
Legacy falls asleep during class while Haru fills up his hand. They both go to their private meeting spot. This is where Haru tells Legacy that she loves him. and I think Legacy took it pretty well. And this time it's Hara that ruins the moment.
レゴシ君を好きになればなるほどルイが心配になるの
And you can just tell that Legacy is done with this shit. And Legacy doesn't embrace her back. He says he'll only hug her once everything has been resolved. Ritz and Pina have a bathroom encounter. Ritz says that if he gets in the way of anything, he'll kill him. Pina tells Legacy about it, and Pina comes up with a plan to lure out Ritz with an invitation. Legacy runs to Ritz's locker to get back the invitation that Pina gave him. However, going through someone's private property is frowned upon, and Ritz hates troublemakers. The two beasts battle it out, and just for fan service I guess, of course, Legacy has to take off his shirt before every battle. Ritz slashes at Legacy's eye open pretty good, blood dripping down his face, unable to see anything. Ritz drags Legacy like how my mum used to drag my oldest brother by the ear to get his hair cut. They end up in the shower so that any blood that will inevitably be spilled will drain out through the drains. Just as things are heating up, company arrives, and the two boys must call it quits for now. The break lasts a good 2 minutes before they're back at each other's throats. They then decide to settle things under a bridge on New Year's Eve. In the penultimate episode, Legacy has to give up and eat meat if he'll have any chance of even competing with Ritz. He collected a few bugs from the woods and brought them to Goheen. Legacy eats an insect and instantly regrets it. He passes out and goes on a fever dream of sorts where the larvae he ate never reached its true form. But now the larvae is part of Legacy in his blood, and Legacy wakes up and vows never to eat meat again. He also grows back his fur in a matter of literal seconds. Okay, I don't even want to talk about this scene, but I gotta have to. Louis and Ibuki are in a bar together. When Ibuki leaves to go to the bathroom, a disguised Legacy greets Louis. And I just love how whenever Ibuki is near him, he puts on a falsetto voice to make him seem like he's an actual girl.
Senpai, 嬉しい。
Of course, Louis is both shocked and taken back by Legacy's appearance, even laughing in his face. But the reason Legacy was there in the first place was to ask Louis to be at the fight between him and Ritz on New Year's Eve. Louis says no, of course. Then the cross-dressed Legacy leaves.
OK とみなします。大晦日23時にガズラ降下したです。待ってますよ。おい、こら、行かねえぞ。
New Year's Eve rolls by and Ritz and Legacy preparing for the fight. We pull back to Louis and the Shishigumi who had just finished a mission. Louis confesses that he loves carnivores, and as a way to see Legacy's fight, he quits the Shishigumi altogether. This takes Ibuki by surprise, but he willingly helps Louis one last time to take him to Legacy. We go back to Ritz and Legacy at the fight. Ritz claims that he just ate Pina before the fight, but Legacy can sniff him out and determine that he is still alive. He's tied up underneath the bridge a little while away from where they are. We cut back to Louis and Ibuki, and as manga readers will know exactly what's going to happen next in this dark, dreaded tunnel. In the 12th and final episode of Season 2, it starts off in the tunnel. Louis and Ibuki are plunged into darkness. Ibuki says that if Louis doesn't finish him off here, he'll eat him. But before long, Ibuki attacks Louis. But before he can sink his teeth into him, we hear a gunshot. Did Louis just kill Ibuki? Nah, he didn't. It was Free. You see, in episode 10, we see a flashback to where Ibuki gives Free a gun, and that gun will only be used if Ibuki goes feral and tries to eat Louis. And unfortunately, he had to use it. Free takes Louis to Legacy and tells him never to return to the black market or the Shishigumi, or he'll be killed and eaten. We then go back to Ritz and Legacy, whose fight is just about to begin. The two beasts start throwing punches at each other. However, Legacy is just thrown like a ragdoll. Ritz is just simply too strong. But Legacy has a trick up his sleeve. The power of the moths. But again, it isn't enough. He's thrown against a concrete pillar. With blood everywhere and dripping from his nose, Legacy isn't doing so well.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Ritz tells Legacy more about his relationship with Tem, with Legacy still refusing to believe that they had a good relationship. Legacy wants to hear more about it, so he decides to get a little bit more comfortable, and I guess Ritz just follows along with it. These two were fighting to death just 2 minutes ago, and now they're just having a nice conversation together. This was just all a ruse though. Legacy just needed time to heal. It's at this point that Louis shows up to the party. Ritz doesn't like spectators, so he tries to go after Louis. Not before Legacy blinds Ritz and runs off with Louis before Ritz can lay his paws on him. We quickly go back to Pina, who's just released himself from his binds and ran off to call the police. Legacy and Louis have a heart-to-heart conversation between each other, and we see here, for the very first time, we see Louis cry. He's never cried in his life before. He was never allowed to cry as a child, so he's doing it now. And his love for carnivores has torn down that hard protective layer and has now revealed his sensitive, compassionate side. It's a genuinely heartbreaking scene to see Louis the red deer break down and cry. Louis wants to get rid of his curse, the curse of the black market. So he offers Legoshi his foot to eat, but Legoshi refuses as he promised himself that he would never eat meat again. But he has to eat meat to get his strength back to fight Ritz, to get revenge for Tem, and to protect Louis and all the other herbivores. So Legoshi accepts Louis' offer.
誓います。決して無駄にはしないと。
Here comes Swole Legoshi.
Damn. Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick. Boy, that's a thick ass boy. Damn.
Part 2 of the New Year's Eve battle commences. Ritz and Swole Legoshi run head to head, but the battle only lasted a few seconds as Ritz realizes that Legoshi and Louis have a genuine carnivore-herbivore relationship. Ritz is just surprised that, even though Legoshi just ate part of Louis, their relationship is just as strong as ever. And I just love this last little part of this scene, where Louis and Legoshi smile at each other, both being genuinely happy. It's adorable. The credits start to roll as the season nears its end. Legoshi and Harrow are sitting on the bench together. We get a quick rundown of what happened after the fight. Ritz and Legoshi are arrested. Legoshi is allowed to leave, but now with a criminal record to his name. Legoshi tells Harrow that he's going to drop out of school, and Harrow doesn't like the sound of that. And Legoshi hasn't told Harrow about his criminal record yet. Harrow says that she's getting tired of worrying about Legoshi, and Harrow jokingly, I think anyway, says she'll get a proper boyfriend when she's at university. Legoshi replies that she can't. Harrow replies, "What are you gonna do about it?" The screen fades to black as Legoshi says, "I'll think about it." And that's it. That, my friends, is the end of Beastars Season 2. I'm just gonna give my general summary of the season before I finish this super long video. Season 2 is definitely a lot better than Season 1. The story is faster paced, it's darker yet also being funny than the first season. Purely because this season is way weirder than the last one. The animation is way more detailed and smoother in some parts, and the soundtrack is absolutely legendary. Seriously, please give it a listen whenever you have a chance to. Overall, it's a pretty big step up from Season 1, and I just cannot wait until Season 3. They did a really good job with the anime adaptation of the manga. However, the ending was definitely rushed a little bit, whether it was time or money constraints. They missed out a lot of stuff, like Ritz getting arrested under the bridge, Legoshi getting told that he won't be able to marry Haru, and much more. But again, overall, this was a great season. Now we'll have to wait until July to get the dub. Anyway, my name was Weed Mode, and thank you so much for watching.
Asuna, Mikasa, please can you just give me head, please just get on your knees, bitch, I'll beat up that ass like my name is Bruce Lee, and I'll eat up that pussy like I'm Kaneki, ayy. Asian people driving, are they even trying? I be buying all this hentai so I jerk it, I'm not lying, now I'm sighing, cause I want Hatsune Miku, now I'm crying, when I fuck anime bitches I'll be moaning and be whining, ayy.